Live every day as if it were the last, because before you know it, time goes past and life's just not that long. Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone. Taste the wind, don't let it blow on by. Sing songs of love, let the music get you.
I compliment you women who wear low-cut dresses or tops showing more of your breasts. Enjoy showing your body. Enjoy being attractive. We cannot show our bodies when we're dead in the grave. As a man, I enjoy being shirt-free in public when I'm not cold. I strongly support the right of any woman to be top-free in public if she wants to be. Why should women be required by law to cover more of their bodies than men? As women, men, and non-binary, why waste loads of money on fancy clothes, expensive jewelry, expensive cosmetics? We can be attractive by being lean and healthy, by being warm and never stuck up. We can be attractive by being always honest, friendly, dependable. I love to dance to beautiful music, Mexican music, Chicano music, older country, Diana Ross, Motown. I certainly do not know all the dance steps. I've never taken a dance lesson. I just do what I feel. I danced with my longtime friend Maria, have for many fiestas over the years, with other women, and often by myself. I would be glad to dance with certain men, but sadly, most men in this society don't have the balls to dance with men in most places. Even though women sometimes dance with women. I have no interest in team sports. I damn all violent sports, boxing, mixed martial arts, football. Why would I want to injure and inflict pain on another man's body? And why would I want him to injure and inflict pain on my body? Not for all the money in the world. Not for all the fans and the cheering. Hell no. I'm devoted to many exercises almost every day. Push-ups, crunches, chin-ups, much more. I'm devoted to much walking. But the contact sport that I love is passionate sex with a healthy man I'm attracted to and who is attracted to me. At the 1963 March on Washington, D.C., Prophet Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech. And the chief organizer for that march was openly gay African-American Baird Rustin. Baird's longest romantic relationship was with a Quaker white man, and the Quaker white man was 27 when they began their relationship. He initiated the relationship with Baird, and Baird was 65. 38 years difference in their ages, but that was Baird Rustin's longest romantic relationship with any man. In romantic relationships where there's a big difference in ages, whether it be two men, two women, a man and a woman, it often works best if the younger person initiates. In the year 2000, I started writing down every penny I spend for everything: rent, food, stamps, or anything I buy. I learned it from the book Your Money or Your Life. Writing down every penny I spend and then adding it up is a wonderful discipline. Much of the money most people spend in this country is for crap no one needs. When our loved ones are dying, we need to make sure they know they can talk with us frankly about their dying, about their death. They need to know we will not change the subject. They need to know we will not get up and walk out of the room. Sometimes the dying person wants to talk about dying, but fears the family or friends cannot handle it. And sometimes the dying person wants to talk about dying, but fears the family and friends will bullshit with, "You will soon be up and out around. You're looking better every day." Just bullshit lies. I very much want to be reunited with all my loved ones in a much better life, a much better place after death. But I strongly doubt that happens. I wish it would happen, but I strongly doubt that happens. No matter how much we want something, that does not make it true. For thousands of years, many people all over the world believed their rain dances or their prayers brought rain. And some people today believe their prayers will even help them find a parking space for their car. Often religion of whatever brand is make-believe for adults, magical thinking that makes no sense. I aim to keep making new friends and young friends until the day I die. I want to always treasure my old friends of whatever age, men or women. But if we live to be old, and if we did not keep making new, younger friends, we may end up friendship bankrupt. My dear friend Bob in Illinois died at 94. His beloved wife, Alberta, had died of cancer some years before. They both had known many people through their business in the community. He had he had had friends, but many died before him or Alberta. And in one of his last letters to me, he wrote, "To my one and only friend." How sad. I learned from Bob not to become friendship bankrupt. Keep making new friends, young friends, until the day we die. And always treasure the old friends, if they're living or dead. Most video games are violent. They poison the mind. They glamorize violence, murder, torture. Evil, absolutely evil. I play no video games. I have far better things to do with my mind and with my time. I strongly support legal recreational marijuana. And if you use it, make sure it is not from Mexico, because the drug cartels there have murdered thousands of people. Don't let your recreational marijuana be stained with the blood of many people in Mexico. Many old people who are sick wish they had taken care of their health when they were young. Eating healthy, exercising, not boozing, not smoking, getting enough sleep and sunshine, making friends. And sadly, for many of those old people who are sick, they were too soon old and too late smart. What good are lots of money and lots of property if our body is very sick and we're suffering? What good are lots of money and property if we've not kept in touch with living old friends whom we once were close to? What good are lots of money and property if we have not kept making new friends? What good are lots of money and property if we fear people want us just because of our money? I do not want much more money and stuff than what I have. I have enough. I enjoy living simply below the federal income taxable level in order not to pay for this nation's mass murders all over the world under both Republican and Democrat presidents. I enjoy living simply below the U.S. poverty level. I would not trade places with any millionaire, any billionaire on earth. I would be ashamed as hell to live like that. How well can we teach kids to live fairly in our families if we adults have and buy far more than what we need? How well can we teach kids to live fairly in our world family of over 7 billion sisters and brothers if we hog far more than we need of the world's resources. I would not trade speaking, writing, living my conscience for any high-paying job pressuring me to shut up about my convictions. I would not trade living below the federal income taxable level to refuse to pay for war for all the money in this world. I would not trade mostly walking, sometimes riding the bus, for owning a luxury car. I would not trade sunbathing many days, especially in the winter, on my backyard small private Riviera beach for a free trip to Europe. I would not trade my main food every day, my homemade raw smoothies with many healthy ingredients, for the highest priced restaurant meals in town. I would not trade going to bed most nights between 9 and 10 and getting up at 6 or so for late night parties and getting up late. I would not trade my food and flower garden for the fancy furniture in any mall. I would not trade my 9.5 by 12-foot rented one-room home with 6 windows of marvelous sunshine for living free in a huge mansion. I would not trade the precious wisdom many people, many people have taught me about living simply, about living healthy, about living compassionately, nonviolently, for all the diamonds in this world. My friend Harry Wilson, many years ago, wrote this: "The biggest threat is that country with the most weapons of mass destruction, the US of A. Tens of thousands of nuclear warheads, along with uncounted secret biological and chemical capabilities, along with the expressed and observable willingness to use whatever destructive firepower is available, make us, in this country, the supreme threat to all the countries of the world." And of course, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today is my own government. Harry goes on to say, after the destruction of the World Trade Center, the key question from an 8-year-old was simply, why do they hate us? And someone tried the answer, because of our freedoms. But that was a lie. That was a lie. They hate us for our bombing. They hate us for our arrogance. They hate us for our assumption that everyone else is inferior or below us. They hate us for our assumption that we can take whatever we want whenever we want it. The root of it is our belief in a myth, the myth of being God's country. The wonderful, powerful words of my friend Harry Wilson. A woman from Aurora, Colorado writes, "Dear Ann Landers, To the 17-year-old boy who was afraid to show affection for his younger brother for fear of what others might say. I'm a woman, 25. I was also afraid to be openly affectionate toward my sister. She was 26. I wanted to hug her. I wanted to kiss her many times. She was the sweetest person and a true friend in every way, but I never let her know how I felt. Instead, I substituted my real feelings by buying her gifts. She was not a woman of means and had only her love to give me, and she gave that love in abundance. I recall hugging her only at Christmas because I had an excuse. Christmas traditionally is a season for showing appreciation and friendship. On February 25th, my sister died. My world has collapsed. How sad that she never knew how much I loved her. What a tragedy that I foolishly deprived both my sister and myself of so much pleasure. Please tell your readers, Anne, when there is love among family members, and I would add friends anywhere, in the name of heaven, show it. Don't put it off until later. It may be too late. Signed, Forever Regretting, in Aurora, Colorado. Spanking and hitting children harms them. Spanking and hitting children does not make them better people. Never. Spanking and hitting children can lower their intelligence. Spanking and hitting children can cause delinquency. Spanking and hitting children can cause more anxiety and depression, cause more aggression. Spanking and hitting children can cause more addiction later to booze and to other drugs. Being a good parent depends on love and attachment. Being a good parent depends on setting a good example and not on the threat of getting hit. Children fear the adults who hit them. Children resent the adults who hit them. And when children are in a clinic, hospital, or jail, they usually have suffered abuse or neglect from their parents or other caretakers. And even parents who seriously harm their children are sadly often treating them as their parents treated them. And until somebody says, I'm going to stop this, no matter if my parents hit me or their parents hit them or went back for generations, I'm going to stop it because it's wrong, it's evil. Cursing children, slapping them, insulting them, threatening them can cause as much or more damage than bruises. Cursing children, slapping them, insulting them, threatening them, no good. Countries where children are hit and spanked more have higher rates of adult violence and other crimes. We must love children more, love them better. Stop hitting and spanking and insulting and threatening any child. We do not beat the hell out of children. Hitting them beats the hell deeper into them. We need to live a good example. If a father or mother tells their kid not to do drugs with friends, but the father or mother are drinking booze, smoking cigarettes, eating crap, what kind of example is that? We need to practice what we preach or shut up. And when we fail to practice what we preach, as we all do and will, we need to ask forgiveness. We need to, from our kids or friends or whomever. Hugs can lower the blood pressure. Hugs can hug away stress. Hugs can lower the heart rate. Hugs can increase the love hormone and the feel-good endorphins. And people who have strong connections with other people, people who receive the most hugs, are less likely to get sick. Hugs actually can help our immune systems fend off all kinds of bad germs. We need more than hugs. We need healthy food. We need good sleep. We need exercise. We need sunshine. But hugs can also help. The gay Jewish American anthropologist Tobias Schneebaum, in his book Where the Spirits Dwell, writes from his own experience in Southeast Asia. He says, 2 young men were responsible for taking me regularly into the swamp to bathe. I learned years later that they were bond friends, put together to strengthen clan ties by their parents when they were just beginning to walk. Cass had seen me washing in the mud and salt water near the house and had told Kokorai and Amer to take me to sweeter water. They were in their mid-teens. They were slender, without the powerful arms, shoulders, and chest muscles they would develop within a few years from paddling every day. They were always in good humor, full of laughter, amusing anecdotes, information. We bathed amidst the huge yellow water lilies in swamp water, black yet clear. The boys had never seen soap before, and they luxuriated in lathering themselves. They soaped their bodies again and again, using up most of a bar each time we went out. They enjoyed the sensuality of it, always immediately showed erections. Not at all put off by my presence, Kokorai leaned onto the bent back of a mare, pushed his penis into him, pumped away enthusiastically, and within a few minutes, they reversed roles. The details of the relationship between bond friends in part of Asmat in Southeast Asia had been unknown to outsiders. That this one aspect was revealed to me, not to me, Don Schrader, but to this writer, gay American gay Jewish American anthropologist Tobias Schneebaum, revealed to me so easily, so directly, spoke of something about me that the men recognized. Some overt gesture on my part, some restlessness seen in my eyes or filtering through my skin. The missionary of the region was on leave then, and sexual solace or comfort pervaded the villages in which he preached, though the jungle had always been reserved for what the people thought of as their normal lives since the arrival of the mission. In acting out their desires so spontaneously, with me looking on, Amer and Kokorai demonstrated that they knew I was sympathetic, possibly a participator. The intimacy between Amer and Kokorai was the first tangible evidence of the behavior that I had expected to find in Asmat, and it gave me a sense of acceptance. I no longer felt isolated, as I inevitably felt under Western concepts that denounced such practices. I had entered into them, had been part of them in Peru, Thailand, Mexico, Japan, Korea, Uganda, Kenya, and elsewhere. And it was as if homosexual relations existed everywhere, even though, more often than not, they might be underground. It was in Asmat, however, that I felt for the first time part of a universal clan, for Asmat culture in some regions not only allowed for sexual relationships between men, but demanded that no male be without his male companion, no matter how many wives he had or how many women he might be sleeping with. Who can know what it meant to me to find myself in a group where I was no different from others in that one way? Dear Abby, to reach a 15-year-old, try this. She writes to make teenagers think what becoming a parent can mean. She says, if your child throws up all over your bed, are you or the father going to clean it up, stay up all night with a crying child, and then go to work the next day? When the baby is sick, will you cancel your plans with your friends and stay home? Will you skip buying clothes or the latest cell phone for yourself because you can barely afford food for your little one? Are you willing to give up your dreams of school or travel because the child you gave birth to will grow up and need shoes, an education, medical care? Are you prepared for when this cute, cuddly infant becomes a screaming 2-year-old? If you continue your education, will you have the energy to work and care for a child who totally depends on you for all physical and emotional needs? And most important of all, can you handle this? And she's speaking particularly to young women. Can you handle all this alone if suddenly the father decides he's not ready for the responsibility? And she signs it, waited till I was old enough and glad of it. And a single parent writes, are you emotionally, physically, financially ready if you have a premature baby? A handicapped baby? She says, I'm the parent of a severely handicapped son. His twin sister has ADHD, and by God's grace and just dumb luck, I'm handling it well so far. Signed, Flying Solo in South Dakota. Dear Abby, parents need a sense of humor, an infinite amount of patience and thick skin. Children take the longest time eating, using the bathroom, telling a story, asking a question, etc. And there'll be many occasions when they will tell you that you are the meanest mommy or daddy, or that they hate you. Can you handle that with grace, firmness, patience? From a wise mom in Alabama. Dear Abby, my question is, can you provide a safe environment to raise the child? One of the biggest dangers to young children is abuse. Having heard so many stories about young parents shaking babies that won't stop crying, or worse, this should be carefully considered before becoming a parent. Signed, Seen Too Much in Michigan. A man writes about a neighborhood in the southern city of Basra in Iraq that he visited years ago. On January 25th, 1999, this neighborhood in Iraq was hit by one or more U.S. missiles. 36 houses destroyed, 7 people killed, many people wounded. 7-year-old Hashim Ali, a cute little boy, small for his age, the large scar on the calf of his leg of his innocent body, the grim expression on his face did not fit well with his youthful features. His look pierced me, says the writer, as he lifted his garment to reveal his wound. He handed me the chunk of contorted metal that had torn his flesh. This U.S. export was stained with Hashim's blood. His age, his innocence did not protect him from U.S. vengeance. An American said to Hashim, his father, and the crowd of hundreds, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." His father replied, "You say you're sorry, but still your government kills civilians." One was a 6-year-old girl, her hair tied back by a still visible bow. The girl's dead, her body partially covered with debris. Her name was Nan. She and her little sisters, Daha, 3.5 years old, Zena, 2 years old, all were killed in the attack that had wounded the boy Hashim. A fourth photo shows their mother dressed in black, sobbing, while another black-clad woman in mourning tries to comfort her. And these photos of dead children, their ashen faces covered with concrete dust, their limbs buried beneath the remnants of their home, which was built to protect them from the dangers of the world. These photos, along with the testimony of the people and the shrapnel that lacerated Hashim's leg, were damning pieces of evidence in one of a string of child massacres carried out by the people and government of the United States. According to UNICEF, at least 5,000 children under the age of 5 died every month in Iraq as a result of the sanctions which were in place. Sanctions demanded by the United States. The sanctions and bombing of Iraq were being done in the name of the people of the United States. The missile that destroyed Nan, her sisters, and their neighborhood were delivered by U.S. soldiers, built by U.S. workers, paid for by U.S. taxpayers. The tribunal in Nuremberg after World War II, the tribunal that tried the Nazis for the Holocaust, declared complicity in the commission of a crime against peace, a war crime, or a crime against humanity is a crime under international law. How can we honestly condemn genocide while participating in it? Why are we shocked when our children settle scores with guns and bombs when we do the same? The children who become soldiers, the parents who are taxpayers. Sisters and brothers, let us stop the killing. Let us stop paying federal income tax for the killing. Dear Ann Landers, while I was waiting for my husband, Henry, to return from his morning walk, the doorbell rang. It was my neighbor telling me that my husband of 45 years was lying in the driveway. He had suffered a massive heart attack while walking. My neighbor called 911. My husband was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. The night before, Henry and I had gone to a restaurant for dinner. There was a sheet of brown paper on the table, along with a box of crayons. And while waiting for dinner, Henry wrote, "Sex tonight?" He was playful even at 70, And she says, I wrote, okay. And when we arrived home, he asked if I was too tired. Actually, I was a bit weary, but thank heavens I said no, never dreaming that after 45 years of wonderful love making, it would be the last time. Mutually satisfying sex can make a good marriage better. You never know when it will be the last time. More than 200,000 Guatemalans were murdered during the 1970s and 1980s war. The U.S. furnished the weapons, the officer training, the CIA involvement. 662 villages in Guatemala were destroyed with the backing, the strong backing of the United States. The U.S. furnished the weapons, the officer training, the CIA involvement. The U.S. CIA overthrew the Guatemalan government in 1954 because the democratically elected president of Guatemala opposed U.S. corporations stealing his people's labor, his people's resources. The U.S. also backed the brutal dictator Somoza in Nicaragua in Central America. More than 50,000 Nicaraguans were killed in that war to oust the U.S.-backed dictator Somoza. And many years later, 30,000 more Nicaraguans were killed in the war between the Sandinistas and the U.S.-backed Contras. In El Salvador, 75,000 people were killed in that civil war. The U.S. leaders and taxpayers are responsible for this river of blood in Central America. And then people today in the United States wonder why they're fleeing. That kind of mass murder and destruction leaves scars on societies for many decades. U.S. leaders and taxpayers supported the murder of most of the more than 355,000 people killed in those three nations: Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, in Central America. Don't get me wrong. I damn the atrocities of Osama bin Laden. I damn the atrocities of Saddam Hussein. I damn the atrocities of dictators in other countries through the ages. But the U.S. has murdered far more people in Central America, in Iraq, in Yugoslavia, in Chile, in Vietnam, in Cambodia, in dozens of nations, than are killed by individual dictators today. And tragically, most people in this country do not know the facts of the bloody massacres all over the world committed in their name. Many USANs, and I say USANs, I aim to avoid saying Americans in this for people in the United States, because all people in South America, Central America, North America are actually Americans. And it's very ignorant and arrogant of us in the United States to think that we are the only Americans. Millions of USANs have never once called, never once written Congress, never once contacted the President to oppose U.S. mass murder in other nations, mass murder committed in the name of the people of this country. In the 1970s, Henry Kissinger assured the dictator Pinochet in Chile that the U.S. would not demand that Pinochet respect human rights in Chile. And the U.S. backed the overthrow of the oldest democracy in South America, which was Chile, ushering in the brutal dictator Pinochet, who murdered and tortured thousands of Chileans. Why do they hate us? Well, it's clear. Imagine you went to a town where everybody always wore cloth covering their ears, even in hot weather. You never saw anyone with bare ears in public. It was forbidden by law. You could get fired, you could get thrown in jail, you could get laughed at, you could get cursed, you could get beaten up, you could get branded as a dangerous pervert if you showed your ears in public. Insane. Why are these people ashamed and afraid of seeing bare ears in public? Why are they so hung up about that part of their body? Why? This weird taboo. In this society, the same is true of naked penises, testicles, vaginas, asses, female breasts. Why the crazy, sick hang-ups about these precious, pleasurable parts of our bodies? Why is it legal to show rifles and shotguns? Why is it legal to show revolvers and nuclear missiles in public, but it is not legal to show naked penises and testicles? It's not legal to show vaginas and asses and female breasts. What a crazy, mixed up set of values. Our genitals are not obscene. Naked bodies making love are not obscene. Male with male, male and female, female and female. But war, racism, nuclear bombs are obscene. War taxes, rape are obscene. Revenge, greed are obscene. Boxing and grudges are obscene. But because of the sexually uptight society we live in, I aim to be wise, to be naked and to make love where I do not risk getting arrested or freaking people out or getting beaten up. I love living naked at home, mostly naked elsewhere when I'm warm enough. I enjoy living as naked as the weather and the law allow. And one of my favorite, simple, free, natural pleasures is sunbathing naked in a small private spot in our backyard, especially in cool and cold weather, because in hot weather it's damn uncomfortable to lie there in the sun. I read, I think, I eat, I write letters, I rest, I converse with friends as I soak up the marvelous healing sunshine, especially in winter, on many days, if there are no clouds and no wind. It is wonderful. Always follow the money. Whoever pays the fiddler usually calls the tune. Never swallow as truth the claimed results of any study approving booze or sugar or meat or dairy or nuclear power or cell phones or computers or whatever, if people who make money off that thing help pay for that study. Follow the money trail. Who paid for the study? And do not let them con you into eating or using something harmful so they can grab your money. News stories in newspapers or on radio or TV often do not include a complete list of who all paid for the study. Many scientists, sadly, sell their brains, careers, and consciences. The cancer of money addiction corrupts people in all occupations. Greed is an equal opportunity destroyer, regardless of the ethnicity or the income level. If the scientists eat or use that item, often they downplay the dangers because they do not want to face up to the painful truths and change their own lives. Scientists' personal addictions, their prejudices, often distort their published conclusions. Question everything in the pursuit of truth. Do not be duped. Do not be conned. Follow the money trail. Question everything I say. Question everything the government says. Question everything your family or your religion says. In the pursuit of truth. Good night.
Every day as if it were the last, because before you know it, time goes past and life's just not that long. Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone. Taste the wind, don't let it blow on by. Sing songs of love, let the music get you high. And when it's said and done, you'll know the sun will shine on. And when it's said and done, you'll know the sun will shine on.